has a lot to offer to anyone seeking a wholesome adventure. Whether you're looking for some gorgeous views of massive mountains of the Annapurna range, turquoise freshwater lakes scattered over arid landscapes, countless waterfalls, traditional herders and shepherds with their herds of sheep and goats, beautiful hikes, or the occasional wildlife if you can spot them. Manang is full of surprises whether you're looking for a cool place to spend some time in the middle of forested hills or right next to the Annapurna. From some of the most unique views of the Himalayas you can find anywhere, to a raging MARSHYANGDI river to make some fun pit stops during your trip, Manang has it all. If this is your first time on our channel, hit the subscribe button to join us on all of our epic travels. Do let us know what you think of our journey, and if you have been to Manang yourself, we would love to hear your experiences down in the comments section below. Also check out our other recent video of our trek to Langtang and Kosai Kunda if you haven't already. We will be exploring some of the less known but equally gorgeous villages within the Manang Valley as we trot along some less traveled paths, and also explore the most famous of Manang's villages, Praga and Manang. We will hop from one beautiful monastery after another, traverse the surrounding hills and the valley itself while making friends as we go. But we will save that for our next video. Just to give you an idea of how much there is to be explored in Manang, we are actually gonna start our story from our last day in Manang. We had just spent a few days staying in Manang village at Alpine Home as we explored the surrounding areas within the valley. This was the beginning of our way back to Kathmandu through the forested hills of Manang and Lomjung, but before we got there, we were about to explore some epic places that we were yet to see. We planned to spend our night on the way back in Pratang at Farmhouse, probably one of the coolest lodging options anywhere in the mountainous regions of Nepal. Our host Samraj Dai was an amazing host to us, and there are so many fun activities to do at the farmhouse while you are there, and in such a cool setting that you will never get bored here.
Biggest apple farm in Nepal, right?
Hey, okay.
So
right now we have 68,000 trees.
68,000?
But before that, we still had to drive through some astonishing landscapes to get there, and on the way we came across a gorgeous turquoise lake and a massive glacier to drive towards. We were also to stop by the village of DHUKUR POKHARI for lunch and witness the Heaven's Gate. This was one of my favorite places in Manang even when I was here back in November of 2017, and still is. So we were suggested by our hosts at Alpine Home in Manang that we check out a glacier on our way back. We just had to take a trail that's separated from the main road at one point right next to this apple farm. We found ourselves heading straight towards a glacier and this gorgeous lake right on our path. We just had to come back and spend time here after we were done with the glacier. So we kept driving and we just ran out of road to drive on at one point. So we stopped right there to take in the magnificent views all around us. None of us actually know what this glacier is called or if it even has a name. If any one of you does, then let us know. But it didn't really matter whether we knew the name or not. It didn't change how cool of a spot we had just found. And like any traveler that comes along a cool spot would do these days, we spend some time taking photos. Or should I say taking profile pictures. Spend some more time observing and absorbing this incredible landscape. And then as we headed back, passing through this lonely house in the middle of nowhere, we stopped by this little body of water to give some company to this pair of ruddy shell ducks. These birds have flown all the way from Siberia and Central Asia and can fly at whopping altitudes of up to 6,800 meters. Also, these ducks mate for life and are rarely seen without their mating partners. So now we had this all for ourselves. So we parked right next to the lake and spent some time here taking in all the beauty and the calm.
यहाँ बसौँ
Oh, and this Toyota Hilux, which was basically our home while we were on the road, made it possible for us to reach to all these places where we would not have been able to go in such a short amount of time, and that too on roads most vehicles are not able to venture into. So thanks, Toyota. And no, we aren't sponsored by Toyota. After we chilled there, we were back on the road and back on the main track as we headed towards Pratang. But we still had one more place to stop by. the village of POKHARI, right next to the mountain known as the Heaven's Gate, or SWARGADWAR in the Nepali language. This just seems to be another of those places that is usually ignored or missed by most travelers to Manang. But it is home to one of the most unique looking and beautiful mountains in the Himalayas. The name of the mountain, SWARGADWAR, coming from the words Swarga meaning heaven and Dwar meaning gate in Sanskrit. It is also known as Paungda Dara, and the view of the Heaven's Gate from DHUKUR Pokhari is absolutely stunning. Paungda Dara is notable for its western rock face that rises dramatically 1,500 meters or 4,900 feet above the MARSHYANGDI river. The mountain's smooth western face, also known as the Great Wall of Pisang, is composed of slate rock and formed as a result of an ancient lake bed being uplifted during the creation of the Himalayas millions, if not hundreds of millions years ago. So for lunch, we stopped by Gangapurna Hotel in DHUKUR Pokhari. Its vibrant colors next to fluttering prayer flags and an astonishing view formed a perfect backdrop as we had lunch there, and also tried some tangy and delicious sea buckthorn juice, which we had during our trek a few months back in Langtang and Gosai Kunda for the first time. Link to that video in the description below, or just head to our channel page. First time thing. हजुर अमिलो हजुर अनि पकाएर
अस्ति त थियो अस्ति 15 दिन अगाडि त कुकुरै थियो फेरि यस्तो गरे परेको नि फोटोहरु देखे त्यस्तो बाँकी हुन्छ होला भने त कति छिटो सब घाम कस्तो घाम लाग्यो है सब पग्ली सक्दो रहेछ कति छिटो परेन नि त हिउँछ चाहिँ रात्र त पहिला त तर्सिन्थ्यो रोजरले नि यो बाटोहरु यति हुन्छ नि त उता त्यो नोटिसमा जाने बाटो छ नि त्यो अलि जङ्गलै भनौँ त्यहाँतिर त्यो मनाली जानेको बाटोहरु हुन्छ नि हजुर यत्रो भेरी बिसो खने ओ माने देख्ने कि यस्तो हुन्छ त्यही त आना भाइ ल ल त्यस्तै भनौँ न यसले हाम्रो आजको बाजे गरे बाजेले बाजे
After eating lunch, we set out for the road again, and finally we reached our destination late in the afternoon. So before we headed to Manang, none of us had ever heard of Farmhouse, and so we did not know it existed. We had almost passed it by on our way to Manang on the second day of our trip. We decided to make a U-turn and check out what it was. Turns out it was started very recently in 2019, but the global pandemic brought a halt to guests arriving here, but not anymore. The farmhouse is surrounded by the largest apple farm anywhere in the country, with more trees to be added in the coming days. It is akin to a house that you would rather find in the mountains of North America or Europe, but definitely wouldn't expect to find in Nepal, until you do find it. Samraj Gurung, who is the executive director here, gave us a nice tour of the entire place, and we knew we had to make a stop here on our way back for sure. We were already looking forward to all the activities we would be doing once we got back to spend a night here.
Hey, wait, need your arm out there. Let's go. He can't focus.
What? Besides you?
Not for now. Next month, archery season in April.
April month, huh?
With the huge apple orchards at their disposal, Manang Agro, which runs Farmhouse, is about to bring out all sorts of apple products into the market, from Yashagumba infused apple wine, to brandy and dried apple chips.
Next month, Yashagumba season, hunting season.
Oh yeah, but it sounds like maybe not. I guess why not?
Eight % alcohol. Oh.
Just end of December market. Hotel 2 years.
2 years.
Our farm 6 years.
Okay, farm.
No.
Music.
We had only started our trip and we were already excited to spend some time here at the end of our trip. The entire house is made of local wood and gives you great accommodation right next to super steep cliffs in the middle of forests.
One time my wallpaper band, like to put the painting with. Biggest apple farm in Nepal, right?
Okay.
Right now we have 68,000 trees.
68,000?
Another maybe 4,000 to 5,000 trees.
This is the wine, tummy product.
We then checked out the rest of the place, including campsites, dorms and individual rooms, all of which are available here for accommodation.
Dormitory, 5 tents.
5 tents. 5 tents. क्याम्पिङ चाहिँ अनि कता गयो भने टेन्ट
क्याम्पिङ छ हेर्नुहुन्छ
हुन्छ हेरौँ
Shower.
After dormitory पनि छ 8 bed वाला छ
8
6
Just got out but it's like that's a video wildflower.
Finally, we ate a bit before heading out on the road again and tried some of the delicious apple juice from the apple orchards here. Bought ourselves some apple brandy from the farm and decided to eat a bit before making our final run to Manang Valley.
Do you see the apple and the mountain?
We left Pratang, which is at an altitude of 2,940 meters that day, and made it to Manang village at 3,600 meters. So here's a quick fact. The entire time that you are traveling through Manang and even starting from Lomjung, whether you are driving or trekking, you're making your way along the shores of the MARSHYANGDI river. The MARSHYANGDI begins at the confluence of two mountain rivers, the Khangsar Khola and Charsang Khola, northwest of the Annapurna Massif at an altitude of 3,600 meters near Manang village. The MARSHYANGDI flows eastward through Manang district and then southward through Lomjung district. Its length is about 150 kilometers, eventually meeting the Trishuli River at the town of Mugling in Chitwan. With some fast rapids, it is also considered one of the best rivers in the Himalayas for whitewater rafting, which is a popular adventure sport in Nepal. We just decided to stop by the shores of the mighty MARSHYANGDI, and oh, was it worth it or what? Its deep blue colors were as mesmerizing as the massive volume of water roaring through it. You can find a way to get to the shores of the river once you climb down some slopes wherever you have access to them, and you will find yourself in the midst of the roaring river in no time. You may either spend some time witnessing the majestic nature or just fool around and have some fun. We did both. And we also had tons of fun once we got to Farmhouse on our way back. Soon as we got there, we wasted little time to try our hands in archery. Archery is actually pretty big in Manang, and the entire region has an archery competition every year in spring when archers from villages all over Manang come to participate. Traditional bamboo bows are used for the competition rather than the more modern ones. We learned a bit about how the scoring works in competitions and just some lessons on how to shoot arrows. It started getting dark after a while and we were advised to go indoors since there are leopards on the prowl around at night. Apparently 6 dogs had been taken by leopards that reside in the surrounding forests in the past month alone. But there was still plenty of fun to be had inside. As we played some table tennis, moved on to playing cards while trying out more of the apple brandy. Moved spots to play cards, try some Yashagumba infused apple wine. And after dinner and a few drinks, we spent the rest of the night throwing darts. The next day, we actually started the day playing some basketball, but having grown up playing tons of basketball throughout childhood and playing for the first time in years, I basically forgot to use my camera and got too busy while all of us were playing. We warmed ourselves, got some breakfast out under the sun, and then it was time for us to head back to Kathmandu after having spent the night in Besisar Lomjung that day. And we did all of this just in the last 2 days of our trip. Our main trip to Manang Valley was equally amazing, if not even better, and we spent some time exploring the most beautiful places in the region. All of that in the second part of Exploring Manang, which will be out soon. If you like this video, let us know your thoughts or drop any suggestions that you might have to make our future videos even better. Let us know about your experiences of Manang if you are from Manang or have been there. Subscribe if you haven't already, or if you are new here, share this video with anyone who might be interested about Manang or just traveling in general, and we will see you in our next video.